Hey, on today's daily sprint, we're talking about increasing our purpose, passion, and meaning. And today we're talking about how to measure the size of our hearts or somebody else's heart if you so desire. And I was reading this today. I think might have been from James Clear, and he was basically talking about what makes us angry. And I don't love, but what's fascinating about the human emotion, anger, is if you read the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Luis, is anger has to have an etiology, it has to have a source, okay? And that source is from the person who exemplifying anger. So if I don't have anger deep inside of me, or hatred, or the places bad things come from anger, I can't exemplify it out on you. All right. I think Eric and I were researching, I think it might be individuals with Down syndrome. And I don't know why, I don't know the science, but it's really, really a blessing of what would be considered a horrific disease. But there's a mechanism with people with Down syndrome where they don't exemplify anger. Okay, it might be a certain types of Down syndrome, but they just don't interpret things that get them angry, and they just exemplify very, very little anger. And I think what triggered this is we were watching a movie of a gentleman who had Down syndrome, and like people would treat him like horrifically, but he would say nothing but love, nothing but kindness would come out. So exploring our anger can really, really help us explore ourselves and become better human beings. So I will just kind of be vulnerable. What makes me angry is people who blame, victims, and excuses. And before you're like, oh yeah, those people stink, I get it. Here's the thing, I gotta look at like, why does that make me angry? Well, one, I'd like to say, well, I want to see them do better. I know that they can do better, which is probably a part of it, but no, why would it make me angry? Okay, so that's something that I would have to like look deep into my heart. And it might help me empathize with them. Maybe someone's going through a season of life where they need to be a victim. As crazy as that sounds, but they're overwhelmed, and they're not ready. They're just not ready to be a victor. Okay. Or, blame. I know that blame is one of the phases of grief. I know, so sometimes if people are going through grief, their first inkling might be to blame. So instead of me like exemplifying anger towards those things, I might want to understand, well, okay, why is this person blaming? Why is this person being a victim? Why is this person making excuses? And that's an examination of my own heart. Because if those things trigger anger every time without me even exploring why, that says something about my heart. Because again, anger cannot come out of me unless it's already existing in there. Okay, so it's the same thing. So I would definitely implore you to explore where your anger comes from, because I think that's something that we all have. But I know that in my first marriage, like I would say like mean things. It's like, where is that coming from? And again, it came from anger towards myself. So maybe this sometimes I get angry with blamers, victims, and excuses. Maybe because sometimes I'm a blamer. Maybe sometimes I'm an excuse maker. Maybe sometimes I play the victim. Oh man, that's some harsh truth. But again, it's got to come from somewhere. So I'd love to hear in the comments, are there some areas where you have anger in your life, or some trigger points that you're trying to work through right now? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Come out, get vulnerable along with me. Have a great growth-driven rest of your week.